hypnotic dance. She holds me here with only a glance. She's over me. She's over me. In my heart, I can't let go, I'm breaking apart, controlling me, controlling And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Paranormal Portal Bedtime Stories from Beyond. I'm back. Did you miss me? I'm back. Special thanks to Don and Paisley for covering the fort while I was gone. It's just there's nothing ever goes as smoothly as you hope it will, but they did a great job really keeping the ball rolling and keeping the conversation flowing and entertaining you guys in light of all of the technical difficulties that were going on, whether by virtue of it being the portal or just by virtue of little wires being all over the place. But it all worked out great, and thank you guys for being here to support them in their efforts. I had a really quick whiplash journey, but I'm back. I tried to set up a premiere for last night, and I don't know what the hell I did wrong. I don't know. YouTube's got, I don't know. There's a certain sequence you have to do it in, and I guess I forgot to click the last button, and I must have just closed the window thinking I was done, and I wasn't. And then I tried to reload it and redo it, and then I got a duplicate error, and then I got all kinds of problems. But I just did release it and just say, here it is. Here's the new episode. Enjoy it for what it is. But that's, that's, it all worked out. It all went fine, I think. And thank you guys. Don, you did great, brother. I got to tell you, you know how wound up I get when things go sideways. So you had double the pressure because not only did things not go right, but you also had to drive the ship at the same time, which is not something you're doing often. So you did great. You handled it like a pro, and thank you so much, brother. You did fantastic. So, but I'm back, and I missed you guys. It's the longest I've ever been away from doing a live show. So it's really cool to be back. I think that's the longest. I think it is, because we haven't been doing the bedtime stories for a whole long time. So, well, whatever. I'm back. You're stuck with me. I hope you are okay with that, and I hope you're ready because it's time for bed. Just trying to make sure everything looks right. I hope it looks right. Everything seems to be metering correctly. Everything's good. The call-in board is open. It works now. We can accept calls. And the phone number, of course, is 720-923-0500. 720-923-0500 if you want to call in and talk to me. Come on, bring it on. I got it. I'm ready. I'm sitting here just waiting. But no, I got stories pulled up for you guys. I hope you'll enjoy them. And I just see a new name popped up tonight that I haven't seen before, and it was, what the hell was it? Tesla Tech 89. Good to see you. I don't remember seeing you before, so I think you're here. Has anybody thought about putting together a Discord channel for the group so that people could talk through voice chat? Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's certainly possible. I've used Discord in the past when I used to do a lot of gaming. I haven't thought about doing it for the show, but I don't know. We've had requests from time to time to have a 24/7 kind of chat room, and I know Don set up a chat room in MeWe. It's the Aether Archives chat room, and some people use that to connect outside of showtimes. So if you have MeWe, check out Don's Aether Archives. I'm on MeWe as well. I generally just post show notices there. I haven't really gotten too far into the MeWe community just because, honest to God, I don't have the time. You know, I'm trying to do a Twitter as well, and I'm really not horribly successful at that either. So, but you know, it's just there's possibilities. There's definitely a lot of expansion coming for the portal. It's just a matter of lining up what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, and then getting it done. So, it's just really Don and I that are doing everything. So. We are limited, and that in real life, between real life and doing the portal, and Don's real life and doing the portal when he can, we just have real limited opportunities to really blow this up. But I'm trying. I'm actually, got a few irons in the fire that I'm wanting to roll out as soon as possible, but I can't release them before they're done. One of which will be a Paranormal Portal website. Which I like. I would like to like Wes and Tony Merkel both do it for their shows respectively, and it's a real great place because they can post and they can centralize all of their information. Right now we're centralizing everything on the portal through Facebook, pretty much facebook.com/Paranormal Portal Radio, which is fine. For the most part, it's fine because the Facebook community is it's getting bigger. I mean, it's not enormous, but it's closing in on 1,000 people now in that neighborhood. Anyway, I might be stretching that a little bit, but if you round up accordingly, it will be 1,000. So it's getting there. But yeah, these are all things that we totally want to do for the show to add into it. The Facebook group is facebook.com/Paranormal Portal Radio. So that's how you can do it, Duck Sauce. Definitely follow us there because any announcements for the show will happen there regarding if there's anything going on, if we're running late or whatever the case may be. Any announcements will happen there or through my Brent Thomas page on Facebook as well. So you can certainly subscribe to both. Don's also got a Don Longbeard page out there on Facebook, so you can plug into him there as well. So. Anyway, I hope you guys did great in my absence, and thank you to all of you who showed up over the weekend to support Don and Paisley. They did a great job again. Thank you guys again. I don't like being away that long. It's really tough. But we're in a little hotel, and you never can count on the internet at hotels for anything other than just checking your email. And I tried to, check out the shows, and I was getting, loading. So I couldn't imagine if I'd tried to stream from a hotel. So that really worked out great. Anyway, let's get to some stories. I'm sure you're not here just to hear me flap my gums. Ladies and gentlemen, by the way, my grandmother did pass away yesterday. Many of you have reached out to me through Facebook and stuff, and I appreciate that a bunch. She was 97 years old. Just a really fantastic person. She had lived a long, hard life, but she lived it well. She was an incredibly independent person. I mean, she was never a burden on anybody. In fact, she would always bend over to help anybody that needed it. And she was an amazing woman. She died peacefully in her sleep, and it's the best I could have hoped for. So thank you to those of you who've reached out to me regarding that. I appreciate it. But honest to God, it's the most perfect passing, because I think it's hard for anybody to face that final moments. And she was nervous and she was worried, and I was just like, take her in her sleep, take her in her sleep. Don't make her face this, and be terrified. And sure enough, she fell asleep yesterday morning, and never woke up. That was it. So thank God for that. She passed very gently and peacefully. And but I just wanted to thank all of you who've reached out to me. I love her dearly, but 97, that's a hell of a journey. I mean, she lived nearly a century and drove right up to the end. I mean, she drove herself, lived independently. She was cut from a whole different kind of stone than I am, I'm sure. So, but anyway, I just thought I'd clue you in case you'd heard about that or felt like reaching out. I appreciate it, but honest to God, it's not one of those that I'm real sad about, because I couldn't have asked for a more gentle passing for her, and it was just perfect. So, anyway, let's get to these stories and see what's going on out there. All right, well, first we're going to go to Connecticut, or Connecticut. Another silent letter in these names, huh? So it says, I consider myself to have had many psychic experiences throughout my life, and this one was by far the most amazing that's ever happened to me. I awoke one morning to loud music, and I had no idea where it was coming from. I went to the living room of my apartment and looked through a box of my deceased sister's things and pulled out one of her stuffed animals. But I don't even know how it played. I didn't even know it played music. I'd picked that stuffed animal up 1,000,000 times and had moved it with me into my new apartment and never knew it played music. I shut the music off and went back to bed, and later that day, I was getting ready for night class, and I noticed 4 of my sister's pictures were placed facing down. I'm not sure what to make of it. I left it alone and went to class, and later that night, I was driving home from graduate school after class, and I was about to pass an old church and at the top of this large hill. As I approached the church that was directly to my left, a car passed me in the opposite direction, shining his lights into my car. The car's lights seemed to cascade into my car in slow motion, and I felt as if it was rippling into my car like water. My gaze was immediately taken to my rearview mirror, and there was my sister staring blankly through me as the light cascaded across her face. She looked like an angel, and I almost couldn't breathe, and I was so scared. I felt like I was hit by lightning. The vision lasted only a fraction of a second, but it felt like a whole minute to me. My sister died in a car accident 2 years ago, and of course, I thought I'd never see her again. But that night, I did. That's really cool. That's a beautiful story. Again, those visitations are amazing. All right, so this one sounds a bit darker. So we'll see what's going on here, and it's coming from Texas, because Texas is where it's going on, I guess, for darker things. I'm just kidding. I hear Texas is wonderful. I've been there once when I was doing, I guess in a different lifetime. But anyway, I was in Texas. I liked it. It was kind of a pass-through kind of visit, but it seemed like a neat state. All right, so what's going on down in Texas? Well, let me tell you what's going on down in Texas. Shortly after my second divorce, I went through a period of a lot of anger and a whole lot of depression, and I found myself constantly questioning God, why my life was not going well. One Saturday morning, it was about 2 a.m., and I was laying on the living room floor watching the television, and I felt so restless, I could not go to sleep. And as I was laying there, I saw out of the corner of my eye a shadow pass from the kitchen and go into my bedroom. Thinking it was just my imagination, I didn't give it a second thought. A little later, I could hear in a raspy tone something going psst, psst. I turned around, still laying on the floor, and felt something heavy jump on my chest. I couldn't move and was totally in the worst fear of my life. I closed my eyes and felt whatever this thing was breathing inches away from my face. And it was the foulest smell I've ever known. The smell was far worse than that of rotting meat. In fear and in desperation, I called upon God, but I couldn't get the words out. I was babbling and still unable to move, and I definitely did not want to open my eyes for fear of what I may have seen. I felt its foul, hot breath inch closer to my face, and in a menacing voice said, "Open your eyes and see who commands you." At that point, I started to talk to God in my mind and asking him to forgive me for questioning him and for anything I may have done to offend him or anyone. And I promised God that if he were to remove this presence away from me, I would never love anything or anyone in this world more than I loved him. At that very moment, I felt the weight lift off my chest, and I felt a peace like never before. This all happened in the spring of 1985 in San Antonio, Texas. I did move shortly after that, and while I still have had other supernatural and paranormal experiences, this one was by far the worst and the scariest. Yeah, no kidding. That sounds horrible. It's the whole. It's like there's some spirits and presences that just don't have that personal space thing. I mean, I get uncomfortable if people get close to me. It's like, hey, force field, come on. You get those close talkers that got to come right up to you and talk to you. They got to talk right in your face. It's like, oh man, just please. So I can imagine if it was something absolutely terrifying on top of that with fetid breath. It's like, no. That's just terrible. So that's got to be a fresh kind of hell, I guess. But apparently that burden was lifted and no longer to be dealt with. All right, the next one is also from Texas. Just a sec here. Not too long. All right, let's see what's going on in Texas now. It was about 5 years ago. My sister Cha-Cha, the sister's name, no offense to anyone named Cha-Cha, but it's just not a normal name. Chacha, Cha-Cha, two different words. Called me and told me she had been involved in a car accident. Ew, that's terrible. Apparently she had lost control as the streets were wet and crashed into a guardrail, and upon arriving at the scene, she was okay, but visibly upset and shook up. Her vehicle had damage to the front of the car. The grill was bent up. The left front fender was dented and the hood was bent and would not close. We had the vehicle towed to my other sister's house, and in parentheses it says Alice, who was not far from the site of the accident, and I told Cha-Cha not to worry, as I had a friend that owned a body repair shop and would contact him the next day for an estimate on the repairs. The next day I called Cha-Cha and told her, I'm sorry, that name is just killing me, and told her that my friend from the body shop could meet us at Alice's house and look at her car and give her a good price, seeing how I was a good friend of his. Cha-Cha told me the night of the accident she was trying to figure out how she was going to pay for the repairs on the car, as she didn't have any insurance. She told me that at about 3 o'clock in the morning she felt something shaking her bed. She sat up on her bed and saw 6 people, young and old, standing in front of her bedroom door, smiling and motioning for her to follow them. She then said she got scared and tried to wake up her husband, but he wouldn't wake up, and she said she began to pray and covered herself head to toe with the blanket, hoping they would go away. And I told her not to worry. Probably the stress of the car was getting to her, and I'd pick her up, and I got off from work to go meet my friend and see about the car. I picked Cha-Cha up after work, and on the way to Alice's house, Cha-Cha kept talking about what she had seen and could not get it off her mind. We arrived at Alice's house, and lo and behold, the car was sitting in the driveway, and there were no dents. The grill was intact, the fender had no damage whatsoever, and the hood was tightly closed. We looked at each other and could not believe our eyes. There was absolutely no damage to the car. Now, there were several witnesses to the damage we saw before. My father, my sister, Alice, Cha-Cha, her 2 sons, and myself. I called my friend from the body shop and told him we didn't need an estimate after all, but did not tell him why. Who would have believed me after all? I told Cha-Cha that maybe those smiling people she had seen earlier and wanting her to follow them were probably angels letting her know they had fixed her car. And apparently they did. Cha-Cha got in the car and started up without a hitch and safely made it home. Now those are they're fantastic stories, and I don't know. Those are the tough ones to understand because it's like, well, why doesn't that happen for everybody then? And I'm not generalizing, and I'm not being crappy about it. I'm just saying, why? In this case, why was there such divine intervention to fix a car? There's so many people that get in our accidents and they don't have the happy ending. And so I really want to believe this story is true. I really do, because I think it's a beautiful story. And it's wonderful to think that there is levels of that kind of divine intervention. But why only then? Why not for everyone that might need it? You know, that's the part that's hard to understand. Why this person? What made this person so much more worthy of such intervention than a million other people? You know, those are the questions I have, and I obviously can't answer that, but I think that that's interesting to think about. If this story is indeed true, and again, I hope it is, but if it is true, then what was this person doing, or why was this person so much more inclined to receive such an amazing gift? And it's wonderful that they did. If it is real, it's wonderful that they did, and I think that's amazing and fantastic. But why not others then? I don't know. It's like, why is the interventions only dealt out in so sparingly? Is my point. It's like, if there's a divine and wonderful presence in the world, and I believe there is, I really do, with all my heart. But why are those blessings like that not given freely? What made this one person more deserving than a million other people? And I can't know that. I really can't know that. Maybe this person really was an amazingly virtuous, wonderful person. Maybe she had no flaws. I don't know. But it is peculiar. It is curious. And like I said, I can't tell you that that's true. I can't tell you that it's a fabrication. It's I guess I'm kind of leaning towards it being a fabrication because it sounds so fantastical. But then again, everything about the paranormal is fantastical. Nothing about the paranormal is normal. So, just curious. I guess I'm just thinking out loud here. Sorry, I got to take a drink. I've gone days without talking like this. All right. Let's see what's going on next. We got New Hampshire, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a journey over to New Hampshire. We moved into our current apartment in November of 2004, right before Thanksgiving. Our old apartment was about a block and a half down the road, so instead of renting a moving truck, my children and I would load up the car after work and bring things over. The first time we were doing this is when things started to happen in our new home. There's a mudroom that has a locking door, and it leads to the main door of the apartment. And the mudroom has a lock on the door handle, and the main door also has a door lock and a deadbolt. As we were leaving to get another load, my son asked if he should lock all the locks, and I told him no, we were coming right back with more, and to just lock the handle on the main door. We left and returned about 45 minutes later, and the mudroom door was all locked, as well as the main door handle and the deadbolt. We all thought it was weird, but kept on moving things in. A few months later, my children and I were eating dinner at the dining room table, and my son was talking to me. The kitchen is located behind where I was sitting, and he got this really weird look on his face. Not scared, but odd. His sister's sneakers were sitting on the floor next to the island, and they all of a sudden flipped on their sides. For months, my son would not go to bed unless we were home. He said every time he would walk up the stairs, he would feel like someone was pushing him down the stairs, and a couple of times he did fall backwards. Things would disappear and then reappear months later for no apparent reason. There was another time my husband and I were sleeping, and I woke up to the smell of cigarette smoke. I don't smoke any longer, but my husband does. He smokes outside because my daughter has asthma. So I woke him up to ask him if he had just smoked a cigarette, and he said no. I then asked if he could smell the smoke, and he said no. A few days later, I was telling my friend, and my husband admitted he did smell the smoke, but didn't want me to be up all night freaked out. My kids have taken to our quote-unquote friend and named him Bob. The incident that really sticks out happened on Christmas Day of 2006. I was washing dishes and my son was in his room. My husband was watching television and my daughter was running up the stairs to her room. And while she was running, the light on our baker's rack would go on and off for every step she hit. I thought I was seeing things, so I called her back down and told her to run up the stairs again. By the way, she thought I was crazy. I'm always yelling at her not to run in the house. And it happened again, and this time my husband saw it. So she came back down, and we were all standing there, and I said, well, maybe Bob is mad no one said Merry Christmas to him. So my daughter yelled, Merry Christmas, Bob, and ran up the stairs again. And no flashing light that time. There's been dozens and dozens of things that have happened in the apartment, and at times I want to investigate the history of the building, but then something in me says, I don't want to know. It's just a weird feeling I get. Yeah, that's the thing. Once you know, you can't unknow. You can't just unknow things. Oh, we got a call. Hello, caller. This is area code 870. You're on the air.
Hi, Brent. It's Virginia.
Hi, Virginia. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. I wanted to tell y'all I haven't been in chat all week. My old sweet girl, my Labrador, passed away last Tuesday.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, that's hard.
Yeah, I came in on a few minutes late, and I think I heard you saying that your grandmother maybe passed away as well.
She did. She passed yesterday. Yep. She was 97.
Oh, yeah. Yes. My dog, she was 13, a little over 13.
Mm.
And every night I would tell her, if she, thought she was going to go during the night, that it would be okay. I wanted to make sure she made it to heaven. I didn't want her to stay here and think she needed to be with me.
Right.
I was just really worried about that.
Right.
And so, I thought that she would go to sleep and not wake up. And but the week before that, I started having visions of stuff that I needed to take her to the vet and that she wasn't going to come home.
Aww.
It still hurts me talking about it.
Yeah, that's tough.
So God kind of let me know ahead of time what to expect. I started having visions and I could see that. Mm-hmm. And I noticed that she had swelling on her, and my friend said, well, she might have fluid on her heart or lungs, and that I needed to, get her to the vet. So I made the appointment, and I was scared to take her. Mm-hmm. And I told my friend that. I said, she's not going to come home. And we had hoped that she would, but so the vet went and took pictures, and it was her spleen. Her spleen was 3 times larger than it should have been.
Aww.
And he said that she wasn't going to live very long. And I was really afraid that, it was going to rupture and that I wouldn't be with her at the time, like might be at night or something like that.
Sure.
So he told me I need to think about it. And so he left the room, and I asked a spirit that is always helps me all the time, a loved one in heaven, and I said, I need to know, is it time? Is somebody going to come and get her? Mm-hmm. And I saw my loved one with 3 angels, and I knew then that it was time,
Right.
They let me know it was time.
Sure.
So So I told the vet, yeah. And my other dogs, I think they knew before I did because I had one that didn't want her to leave. She kept trying to get in front of her and not let her leave. So I think they kind of knew before I did. I kind of was hoping I'd bring her home, of course. But yeah, it didn't happen that way. So when it was time, I just closed my eyes and I saw an angel pick her up and carry her.
Mm-hmm.
And well, I wrote a poem about what I saw, and I want to read the poem if I can.
Oh, for sure.
It's going to be hard, but okay, I'm going to try.
Okay.
I wrote this poem on the way home. There really is a rainbow bridge. My sweet old girl left me today. I saw an angel carry her away. I saw this with my mind's eye. This made me happy, I will not lie. I saw the angel set her down in front of the bridge. It was sturdy with wooden rails. I did not see what was under it, and I did not see a rainbow in the sky, but I did see my dog wag her tail as she crossed over to the other side.
Mm.
And it did make me happy because I wanted that for her so bad. I wanted to make sure she made it. And so that is what I saw, but I saw a little bit more than that. Okay, so I saw an angel carry her and set her down, and it really was a bridge there, and it was almost like what you see in pictures and stuff. And on the other side was all my loved ones, my family that's up there, and they were calling her to come to them.
Oh.
And she did. She got up on the bridge and she wagged her tail and just happily ran across that bridge to them. So it really helped me. It really, really did. And I just wanted to share that. So, when we do lose our loved ones, whether it's our grandma or anybody or a pet that we've had for over 13 years and loved, they do make it. They make it.
Right. Yeah, they do. I have no doubt. I mean, it doesn't make it easier on us, but it's just, knowing, like in my grandmother's case, that she's done with the struggles. They're over now. Now she reaps the rewards of her journey, and so how can I be upset at that?
Yes, for sure.
So.
For sure. And I'm lucky that I get to see glimpses of things, and I ask every day, like, what's my girl doing today? Her name was Chevelle, like the old car, Chevelle.
Yeah.
And I said, what's she doing today? And they'll show me, like, she loved when you throw rocks in the lake, and she on the edge of in the water, and she'd go find that rock and bring it back to you to throw again. And somebody, was throwing rocks for her. And so she's loving life up there. And it helps. It really does.
Well, we love you, and I'm sorry for your loss. I really am, but I'm glad that you at least have that confirmation, and someday you'll be back together.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it really helps knowing for sure. So, yeah, but okay, I just wanted to share that with y'all.
Sure.
And thanks so much for everything.
Oh, of course, and thank you for calling in and sharing that with us. But my heart's with you. We'll get through these things for sure.
Yeah, we will.
All right.
Thank you so much. All right. Talk to you later.
Okay. Good night.
Bye.
That's when your animal dies, it's every bit as painful. I've lost beloved pets too, and it's tough. I mean, I don't need to say that to you guys. I'm sure you all, have loved something and lost it, but it's just, I don't know. I guess it's the one journey we're all gonna make. There's no one gets out of this alive, in the body sense anyway. But it's tough. But I don't know. It's what will be is meant to be, I guess. Who are we to question it, right? All right. So let's go on to the next story. And this one is coming out of Indiana, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go to Indiana and see what's going on. Ooh, this one sounds good. It's medium length, so not real short. What would your reaction be if you knew that there was no one in the rest of the house but you and who is in the bathroom? And you hear people walking in on the second floor, and you hear as if someone is looking for something since you hear rattling going on. Well, that is exactly what I hear in my house. I've not heard anything for a while, and I've been burning sage, and I say my prayers, read the Bible out loud, and so I was thinking that whatever was in my house is no longer there. In other words, gone, right? Wrong. It says wrong. I guess I can rest assured that whatever it is, it's not harmful since all this praying is going on and it does not face it. I believe it was Tuesday, January 2nd of 2008. I was getting ready for work. My husband and son had already left, and my daughter and I were the only ones left in the house. My daughter was on my bed watching her cartoons, and I was putting on my makeup, and all of a sudden I hear a small thump. I thought it was my dog in the kitchen, and I had just out him, I think it meant put him, in the kennel since he is still a puppy, and we were gone. While we were gone, we put him in there so that he doesn't tear up the house apartment. He tends to make so much noise to get comfy, and I guess who would be comfy in a cage, but we must do it at least until he gets a bit older. I know that sounds a bit harsh, but I love animals, and God knows I take good care of him. But anyway, back to my story. So I hear the thump as I stand still to figure out where it came from. I hear it again, and I realize that it's coming right above my head, which is Emily's room. I look to my right to make sure my daughter is still on the bed, and she is. Well, I just blew it off and kept putting on my makeup, and then it gets worse. I hear someone going through the room as if looking for something. I walk out of the bathroom and into the living room and look up the stairway to see if I could maybe see a shadow or something. Meanwhile, the rattling and thumping is still going on. To be honest with you, I was so terrified to go up the stairs and see what was up there. I grabbed my daughter and left the house. Later that day, I told my husband what had happened, and he didn't say much. As usual, trying to find reason as to what I heard. We had dinner, and as we were cleaning the kitchen, we heard a bang, almost like a drum beat. Thump, thump, thump. He heard it first, and I noticed he stopped and looked at me and said, "What was that?" I said "What then, there it goes again." Oh, I said, "What then? There it goes again." And we said, maybe the dog wagging his tail against something, and we look, and he is laying there on the kitchen floor asleep. My son had a headache and had gone upstairs to sleep, so we thought maybe he's jumping on the bed and the headboard is banging on the wall. I go upstairs and he is asleep, sound asleep. I come back down and tell him that, and you could see the color draining from his face. He went out to check around the house and nothing. Mind you, the noise is still going on while all this is happening. And we were never able to find the culprit. And I turned to my husband and said, "You see, I'm not crazy." He just laughed and said, "I know you're not. I've had my things happen to me as well." And I just about strangled him when he told me that. But he said he didn't want to worry me. Well, this morning I heard another thump, but to be truthful, I ignored it. And I don't think I heard it again. So what do you all think? Maybe residual haunting? I did find out that the property was owned by a man who was in charge of the Central Indiana Hospital for the Insane or something like that. And there were so many people that died that they would dig holes in and bury them. We had this property at the time of this. He had this property at the time of this, rather. So it makes me wonder, maybe he used this property to bury those poor bodies and now the souls are loose. This info was provided to me by someone that has the same problems and lives in the same area, and her neighbor has them too. If any of you can help me find info on this, that would be great. This man's name was Henry Tutwiler, and from Canby, Indiana. The property is now Heartland Crossing, and he did have a funeral home and was an undertaker with his son. Tutwiler and his son. That is all I have heard, all I have so far. Please help. Well, I hope you sorted it. I don't know him. I don't know anything about him. It's, it doesn't sound like it was really interacting, though, so it does sound potentially to be a residual kind of haunt. Nothing intelligently targeting the people, just noises. So, could be. Could be. Arizona's next, ladies and gentlemen. And this is something that happened to me a few years back. I was spending the night at my grandma's house, and I was in the bedroom. My grandma was in the living room sleeping on the couch, and I was asleep, and then felt someone or something grab me and try to pull me off the bed. When I opened my eyes, I saw a shadow man, and that's what was trying to get me off the bed, and I was scared and yelled for my grandma and all the normal things. I don't know what all the normal things are, but I don't know if it was a dream or what, but it felt very real, and I was halfway off the bed when I woke up. All I know is how it felt, and it felt real. I don't really stay over there at night anymore, but every time I stayed there, I felt uneasy. Anybody have any ideas? Also, when my brother stayed there, he said that he saw a wolf at the end of the hallway. And I've heard a walker. I have heard a walker. I don't know what that means. My great-grandfather stayed at her house before he died, and I felt like this shadow man wanted to hurt me. And I'm pretty sure my grandpa wouldn't have tried to hurt me. My mom and grandma both told me, my brother and my brothers, that the house was haunted, but nothing ever tried to drag me out of bed or anything. Any help would be great. A lot of people asking for help. Again, these stories are very, very old, so I'm sure they've come to their own conclusions by now. But yeah, even though they're still very timely. All right. So we're going to Ohio next. Of course, we're going to Ohio. We have to go there at least once a night. Always Ohio. I'm a young girl who can see ghosts. I can see a man whose name I'm not exactly sure of, but I'm getting a strong feeling that this man goes by the name of Edward. He paces the hallway where all the family's bedrooms are. We live in a 3-bedroom ranch with the living room, kitchen, utility room, and 2 bathrooms. Until about 5 years ago, when we added a second larger living room in the back of the house. It's not just Edward. I can also see dogs from beyond the grave, mostly my deceased pets, but one that I've never seen before, probably one that my mom and dad had before they adopted me, and I think Edward needs help, but I don't know how to help him. The only time I see him is when I'm alone in the hallway or in the middle of the night in the hallway. I'm a little insomniac. Yeah, me too. And so if I talk to him, I might wake everyone up, and when I'm home alone, I'm too scared to stay in the hallway alone. How can I help him, and how would he benefit from it? I need help. This is like a big theme tonight. Tonight's theme, ladies and gentlemen, is help. As for the dogs, I see little glimpses for a split second, and they're usually just standing there looking at me. And it's usually one of my 2 deceased dogs, Dana and Jasmine. But last night I got a glimpse of a dog that I don't know. All my family's dogs have been boxers, and that's what the unknown dog is, which is what makes me assume that it's my family's past dog. I just want to know what to do about all these ghosts. Wish I could help you, but I don't know. I don't have an answer. What the hell? Oh, here we go. I scrolled up too far. I got to pull up a few more. I feel like doing more. I don't know how far we're into the show here, but let me look. We are 44 minutes in. But I'm feeling I'm going to go a little long tonight. Hope you guys Monday worked out okay. It's over. All right, so the next one is coming from Louisiana. Louisiana. This is my first time writing about any of my experiences, and I've had many experiences, not only in the house that I live now, but in the previous house that I once lived in. And here are a few stories that I remember and tell to people who don't believe. When I was 7 years old, my grandmother, who I called Meemaw, of who I was extremely close to, passed away from medical problems, and she had been in and out of the hospital and nursing home, and she passed away in the nursing home that we live behind. I was absolutely devastated. Well, not too long after that is when I noticed weird things start to happen. I was terrified to be in the house alone or walk down the hall or even be in my bedroom by myself. One day I was across my room from the door, and I was just sitting there on the floor. Much no, I can't. Some of these are written so poorly. No, I think they meant must. Now you must know that my Meemaw smoked these nasty smelling cigarettes. So I was just sitting there, and my whole room was engulfed with the smell of these nasty cigarettes. I looked behind me and ran out of my room. My mom is the kind you can tell anything to, so I ran to her and told her, and she was like, yeah, I smell it around me too at certain times. And we all talked about it for a few minutes, and then I decided to go back to my room, and the smell was gone. I got upset because I realized it was probably my Meemaw, and I had scared her away. Sometime later, I don't remember how long after that incident, but this next one occurred. I woke with a strange feeling, so I picked my head up and looked around, and then I called for my mom, and I always have to have her lay with me until I fall asleep or if I woke up. I laid back down trying to go back to sleep, but it wouldn't work, so I again called for my mom. I did this a few more times, and when I picked up my head the last time, I looked at the door only to notice a lady standing there. She had no face. I couldn't tell what she was wearing, and I couldn't see any feet. Well, I was terrified. I just looked at her, and she just stared right straight at me. But she didn't have a face, so she was looking in your direction. I don't know. Then there was just, as we were just examining each other, she stuck out her hand out for me and took a step just to say I wanted to jump out of my skin. It wasn't a scared feeling. It was an excitement. I felt at peace. I was scared, don't get me wrong, but it was a peaceful and calming feeling. After we looked at each other for what felt like an eternity, which was only about a few seconds, I put my head back down and went right back to sleep. After every experience I've had, I was always able to fall right back asleep. I believe it was the same night at the last experience, but I remember having a dream of someone coming to my bedside and rubbing my back and playing with my hair until I fell asleep. I also remember feeling very peaceful and loved and safe. I've had many other experiences in that house, but have since moved from that house. But that was my home for about 11 to 12 years. And I moved into that house at the age of 2 and was there until the age of 14 years old. Well, maybe it's your Meemaw. All right, the next one is Louisiana again. This story isn't really long, but it's kind of creepy to me because of what happens. Just read it and tell me what you think about what happened. One night I was in my old house and I was in my room doing something, and I was about 9 or 10 years old at the time, give or take a few years. And I was busy when all of a sudden I heard my mother scream. Her roommate's name and a faint whisper said mine. I rushed to the kitchen and asked the roommate if Mom was home. And I said, I heard her scream your name. The response I got back scared me to death. No, she isn't home yet, and I heard it too. As I was being answered this, weird, scared look came over both of our faces. She then walked outside and looked in the driveway, and my mom's car wasn't there. She then walked in the front yard all the way to the fence thinking it was our neighbor and realized that it wasn't her either. By this time, I was freaked out a little and waited inside for her patiently, and when she returned, she grabbed the phone and called my mom. There was no answer. She then tried a few more times, and no answer. We then received a phone call from my mom telling us where she was and what she was doing. She was out of town, and she often had to go out of town for her job, and she informed us that she was on her way home and that she was talking to a friend of hers that she hadn't seen in a long time. I don't really understand why the voice sounded like my mom. She was in no danger that we knew of, but she told us that while she was standing there, she got this overwhelming feeling to get in touch with us. So she cut her conversation short and returned to her car to phone us and left the location that she was at. Maybe it was someone helping us in a way that we will never know, or maybe it was someone that we love just getting in touch with us and making us get in touch with one another. Whatever or whoever it was greatly appreciated. Any insight into what or who this may have been is great. I don't know. Maybe your mom would have had trouble. Maybe the mom would have been in a bad situation if that hadn't happened. Maybe that old friend was not a good friend. You never know. It was. Do you really know people? I mean, really? You never know if somebody's like dealing with like a few cards short of a deck. If they might just crack and do something creepy. Always got to be careful. So I assume in those kind of cases that there must be a reason for that. There must have been a reason that needed to happen, even though, it's like some kind of intervention of sorts. Like that event happened, they heard the voice, got nervous. Maybe their energy sent out to the mom, and the mom felt like, I got to get in touch with them. And that broke off that conversation, which ended. And had it not ended, maybe something horrible would have happened. Who knows? But it's one of those things that you may never know, but, it's it may just have been the greatest thing ever. It may just have been. Oh, by the way, Virginia, thank you for calling in, especially since you were the first call since I got back, and now I know the call board's working as it's supposed to. I meant to test it before the show tonight, but I didn't get a chance to. Your call verified everything is working as it should, so thank you very much. All right, so next is Louisiana again. Louisiana's coming up a ton tonight. We moved into a new house in the summer before my freshman year of high school, and I'm now a freshman in college, and friends of mine had moved into my old house. But before they moved out, we were told that a few weird things had happened to them in that house. Nothing scary, just weird things that they can't explain. I believe that in my new house, we have a cowboy-like man who walks from a side door of the house around the corner and down the hall to my bedroom door and just stands there. On many different occasions, we have seen him. If you sit on the couch every now and then, you catch a glimpse of him walking by. He's not scary, just a shadow. He has never done anything to anyone, and I don't believe that he is there all the time. Sometimes you can see his shadow, and other times you can't. I wonder if he is there because of something that has happened to him in the past. I also believe that we have a young lady who has long, beautiful, wavy hair. She's tall and very thin, and I've only encountered her on 2 occasions. Once when I was entering the house, and I had many packages in my hand, and I was turning off the alarm system, and I looked up, and she was just standing there in the dining room. Once family stopped by to visit, and we were standing outside, and I wasn't there, saying goodbyes, and my what's a porge? Or maybe it's a porgy. Is that a dog? No, Porge. I don't know what that is. Ran back inside to use the bathroom, and they had a long journey home in front of them. And when she came outside, she went up to my mom and asked her if she has ever had any experience inside the house. And my mom's response was no, but Anjoli has had many. She then continues to tell my mom that we have ghosts in our house, and she either felt the lady's presence or saw her. I'm not sure which. And after that night, my mom became a true believer. She also believes we have a spirit who likes to inject fear into us, and I feel as if I'm always being watched, and I consistently look over my shoulder, and I feel like I can never get any peace. I hate being home alone, and I'm 18 years old, and I used to love being home alone, but I won't do it anymore. There have been way too many instances that occur in my room, and I've turned off my closet light, and I get in bed all nice and comfy and turn off the lamp next to my bed, and I do so, then look up, and my closet light is on again. So I repeat the same steps until the light stays off. There's been many times when someone or something has played with my hair at night, which puts me to sleep. I know, but it works. There was this one time when I was in my room on the computer with my back to my huge window, and all of a sudden I hear a loud boom, and my whole room shakes. My window is about 7 feet off the ground, and there's no way any person could have hit my window with that much force and moved anything they used before I ran outside to see. That was the first thing I did. I ran out of my room and ran outside to see what it could have done that. There was nothing, just like I figured, but I was terrified. I tried to explain everything to my mom, but she couldn't understand. The most terrifying incident that ever happened to me was when the cross over my door in my bedroom went missing. It was taken off the wall and we couldn't account for it. And the next day it was back on the wall again, just like it had never went missing. I'm a freak about those things, and there has to be a cross above my door. It makes me feel safe. It also has to be blessed by a priest and have holy water on it. One more thing, there is this unexplainable knocking noise. We hear it only in the living room, and it sounds like it's either coming from the front porch or the attic. We had a swing in the front porch, but it has been moved because of this noise, because we thought that's what it was. But it isn't. After we removed the swing, we can still hear it. So we had people check the attic, and again, the answer was disturbing. There is nothing up there that can make the knocking noise. We've had this problem checked over and over again. Also, we have a few leaks in the ceiling over the toilet in the bathroom that just popped up one day, and one over the fireplace. We've also had these checked, and there's nothing to indicate where it's coming from or why the leaking is happening. I'm not sure if our leaking problem is because of something supernatural, but it's starting to make me wonder. Everything that goes on in my house is something that I've learned to cope with. I've also learned to take it day by day and not to underestimate the power of the supernatural. Friends of mine are scared to be left in the house alone or to be in certain rooms alone. Only one friend of mine can account for most of the things that have happened, and she has witnessed some of the doings herself. Sorry this is long, but I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know if you have anything that you can offer. That's pretty intense. Okay, and one more story, just because I love you guys and I just can't go yet. We're going to be over an hour, but that's okay. You guys are okay with one more, right? All right, one more story, and this one's coming from Virginia, who is our one and only caller tonight. So, kind of fitting. To start off, I go to this high school, and I'm not going to release the name because of the reputation of the school is bad enough, and it doesn't need a ghost story. Back in the 9th grade, I started as a techie, technical theater, and I would be up in the light booth working on lights and sound, and one day I'm sitting there preparing for a show, getting cues set, and when I heard someone whisper my name. The voice was female, so I thought it was my theater director, and I looked out of the little window we have there, and there was no one around, so I dismissed it as my mind playing tricks. Then I started hearing footsteps, and the hairs on the back of my neck started standing up, so I looked around, and there was no one there. I walked into all 3 rooms of the booth, and nothing. The little events happened every now and then, so I just dismissed them and would continue working. Fast forward to 10th grade, I started calling the ghost Sarah, the reason being the voice was female. For some reason, I'm starting to call her Carrie. Well, there was this new kid who came in and started techie work too, and it made me glad because I wasn't the only one now, and let's call him Steve, not his real name, and he goes in the light booth sometimes during first period to sleep or hang out and work since he doesn't really do anything during that time. And no, I never told Steve about all my incidences, and one day we were staying after working, and he asked if the auditorium was haunted. Now, since I never told him anything about this, kind of shocked me, so I asked, well, why? His response left me shocked. He said that he heard a female voice calling his name and footsteps, but no one was in there except for him. Now you're probably asking, well, how does she know your names? I have no clue. She must have heard it said. She must have heard of say them a lot. Must have heard us say them a lot, I think is what they meant. I told him of my incidents as well, and we still called her Sarah at this point. So when something would happen, we would joke and blame her. For this new year, which was 2008, a church hired me to come and work lights for a religious hearing at the school until about 1 a.m., and I agreed. No, I'm not religious, but the church pays pretty good, and I was the only one in the booth reading my book, and someone would occasionally come in and check the camera, and as I'm reading, I see a dark shadow move out of the corner of my eye. It was so fast, I thought nothing of it until I saw it again. This time it was bigger and moved a little slower. I thought it was someone checking the camera, but then I thought, well, I didn't hear the door open, and the other door is locked. And that kind of freaked me out for a moment, but I just said, hey, Carrie. Yes, I'm started calling her Carrie at this point. I'm not sure why. Don't scare me like that. We can talk again some other time. Skip ahead a few days. I was in algebra class. I just watched a show about mediums the night before, and I figured, hey, let's try it. So I closed my eyes and thought, hey, if there's anyone here, let me know. Over and over again. Then I felt my left side get really cold, and the girl next to me noticed it too, and later that day, I was in the light booth, and I decided to have some fun. I closed my eyes and said, if there's anyone here, make a noise. Nothing happened. So I said, well, okay, take your time. About 2 minutes later, I heard a knock on the wall, and I said, do it again. And it did it again. So by this time, I'm amazed, and I say, make a different noise. Then a scratching sound comes from the walls, which kind of freaked me out. So I said, all right, I'm going to do some mic checks down there. If you want to talk, let me know. As soon as I got down there, the lights on the stage flicker, so I go to the booth, and the board has been messed with. Now you're thinking, well, someone messed with it? No way, because I went out the only unlocked door, and no one could have climbed through the window and then back out in under a minute without anyone seeing them. I've come to the point where I talk to Carrie when I'm in the booth. Don't get me wrong, nothing bad has happened. I think she just keeps Steve and I company while we're in the booth. Well, cool. All right, as long as there's no pig's blood involved, I think that's fine. But I'm bummed, Carrie. Get it? Sorry. Horror movie reference. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this, my return to the portal. I've enjoyed it. I'd keep going and going, but what do? I have lots of other things just waiting for my undivided attention. So, Marlena Bonavita. Hey, Marlena. Marilena. Sorry, all the font is gray on black, so it's hard to see the little characters. Let me look at who's here. We have 27 people here, but let me just look and see. It's Duke, Diane, D, Duck Sauce, Jessica, Lewis, Marilena Bonavita, Orange County Girl. I'm here. Rand Electric is here, and Ken is here. I don't know if there's more or not. OCG, good to see ya. Cha-Cha was here. I did, huh? Well, give her my best when you see her. Oh, let me look and just see if I missed anybody. I'm sure I missed many, but the Google. Oh, Lewis is here. Did I say Lewis? I don't know if I did. Just looking. Well, I guess that's going to wrap it up, though, for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for being here. I love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day and remember to laugh as much as you can. Check out our podcast. It's out there. It's out there on, actually, Pandora is just about the hottest platform we're on. But iHeart is really screaming up, too. Lots of people are checking it out on iHeart. Again, on the Apple, of course, Apple Core Media's, which is all of their platforms. So the word's getting out, and it's really cool. And thank you guys, those of you who do check them out. I truly, truly appreciate it. Now, I've noticed Don's told me that he's hearing from people the volume issues. I'm aware of it. We think we have a fix so that the volume won't go up and down. And a special thank you to Mr. Wes Germer for helping me with that. I appreciate your advice, brother. And I played with it today, and it really did an amazing job. This application Wes told me about. So I really appreciate it. And thanks for taking the time. Help me with that, because I want this podcast to be great, and it sucks. I was listening to the show that I did with Robin, and it was a great show. Great conversation, but I'm listening to it on my Alexa out when I'm in the other room, and my voice is low, then it was loud, then it was low, then it was loud. I'm like, oh man, and it's already out there, so there's nothing I can do about it. But it's just, to me, it feels embarrassing. So I really appreciate the fact that we have the means. Oh, Stacy, good to see you. Oh, I missed you too. I'm glad you're here. Give it up for Wes. Absolutely, give it up for Wes. OCG. OCG. It's quicker than saying Orange County Girl, so you get to be OCG, Original County Girl, instead of Orange. I don't know. OG. Sorry. Anyway, I don't get paid for the comedy, so you get what you get. You're getting what you paid for, so it's free. Anyway, guys, I'll be back tomorrow night with more of the bedtime stories. Waldo was here. I missed that too, but that's not unusual for me to not find Waldo. Hi, Josie. Good to see you. Thank you. Oh, yeah. Thank you so much. Josie's been a friend of ours for a long time. It's good to see you. I'm sorry I can't. Thanks, Chris. Good to be back. OCG. Yeah. Well, you should be careful what you say. That's all I'm going to say, OCG. Just be careful. Where is Waldo? I don't know. But Jess, look what I found. I'm going to wait till Wednesday and we'll fill it out and send it out. Just saying. All right, guys. That's going to wrap it up for me. Thanks for welcoming me back so wonderfully. It's wonderful to be back. It's always tough to be away. But had a great time. Don't get me wrong. But it was just such a whiplash trip. But it is good to be home. It's good to be back in the studio and back at the portal. So I'll be back tomorrow night. I hope you guys are here joining me for more of this magnificent form of fun that we call the Paranormal Portal. Good night, everybody. I love you, and sweet dreams.